Hey guys, it's me, Psyker. So I'm learning Japanese. It's why I stopped streaming with complete radio silence again. It was why I was banished to the VR chat realm for the current month and now ending year. I wanted to make this video to just clear up any last bits of confusion until I can pretend like it never happened. どうしたの? Why is this the case? Well, let me take you guys back all the way back when I was in high school. I'm not even gonna bother with the exact year because honestly, I don't want to remember. During this horrible year with the virus of that time, I was taking college courses, and in the midst of that, taking a language course called Japanese 1. This was one of the best things that I had going for me at that time, especially since I really wanted to learn the language. Of course, without using services like Duolingo. You know, Japanese or disappear into the sea, you know? While I did enjoy Japanese 1, I didn't really enjoy Japanese 2. They ended up changing out the cast of characters that were teaching us Japanese, and I overall didn't feel like I was progressing as fast as I thought I could. So I chose to completely fail the class by believing that I had enough foundation to be able to continue at my own pace. This was an arduous process that would never see completion because I never truly put the pen to paper. That was until this year, 2024. I've tried Anki. I've tried Wanikani. I've tried Drops. I've tried Bunpo. I've tried HelloTalk. I've tried Duolingo again. I've tried Kanji Study. I've even bought the trilogy Learn Japanese to Survive series for hiragana, katakana, and kanji. I've even tried spamming N5 practice quizzes on the internet. I've searched forums, Reddit, and literally anything that could give me a semblance of understanding how I should learn Japanese. I was watching YouTubers in Japanese. I was watching Japanese people cook foods. I was watching VTubers. I was doing a lot. I've tried many different things and I've failed so many different times. I gamed a little way too much. Months after months of attempting to watch it all crash and burn is what made it feel legitimately impossible for me to figure out how I wanted to learn the language. I'm super caught up in hella YouTube videos for people who master the language, like how I would learn Japanese again if I could start over, and watching it never work out for me personally. I felt completely lost. I genuinely couldn't figure out what the problem was. I knew I needed to learn kanji, the final boss of Japan's writing system, essentially. At least that was until I decided that I was going to sit down and read through Steins Gate entirely in Japanese. And I failed. But from that one experience, I learned a lot. When I involved Anki into my process for mining words from the visual novel that I didn't know, I realized and learned that I just do not like Anki. It felt like I was spending more time trying to remember what each word was than actually progressing the visual novel itself, which to me is like more than 1,000 times more fun than looking at a flashcard 24/7. So I was very confident that the way I wanted to learn Japanese was mainly through visual novels. That was going to be my main source of input. But I didn't know how to go about it now because I learned that they were going to remake Steins Gate, I think in like live 2D. So I was like, yeah, we can't do Steins Gate right now, so we gotta find something else. I knew I didn't want to do Chaos Head Noah because I literally did finish all the routes on March 23rd of this year. And I didn't want to do Chaos Child again for reasons. But I found myself frustrated with just not being able to sit down and choose. But it wasn't only the fact that I couldn't choose, but it's also the fact that I would get a ton of input but never be able to get that output, you know, actually speaking the language. I mean, after all, I have no friends who wants to learn Japanese with me, or are just generally willing to put the practice in hand. Everything would have been so much easier by having friends in the language you're studying, don't you think? One late night with a friend, I decided that I would open up VR chat to see if Japanese people truly did exist on this planet we called Earth. I decided to join a JP region world. And then I was overwhelmed.
Some parts of my face. Konnichiwa.
なんか、
はい。
なんか日本語喋って。
There, oh my god. I was like, what is happening, bro? Oh my god! This happened on December 9th, so it was very clear afterwards what I had to do. So we meant this really bad. So, as days are going by, and I'm coming across a few people who could speak slight English, and it's not their first language, I realized that, man, this is actually really cool. But problem was, I didn't know how to talk to Japanese people. You see, I knew a few basic phrases that could get me by. Oh, konnichiwa, genki desu ka? Hello, how are you? Nihonjin desu ka? Are you Japanese? Are you a Japanese person? Oh my god. But I couldn't go over to them because I thought they were going to fillet me alive just by speaking their language. So one of the friends that I made during that time decided the best way that I could learn and to act was to run around the server going Nihonjin desu ka? Nihonjin desu ka? Genki desu ka? Boku no Boku no tomodachi Nihongo o benkyou shite masu. Or like it's just horrible stuff. Horrible. But it got me the confidence that I needed to at least be able to do that. So I really thank you. I would not be here without your assistance. And ever since I finally gained the courage to be able to walk up to people and start a conversation with them, even if it's really basic, you know, I've made a ton of friends because of it. I've just been visiting the same few worlds, like figuring out new places I can go to figure out people to talk to. You know, I went to this place called Poppy's Yokocho, and I'm pretty sure I got touched there, but like, you know, I was able to meet really cool people by meeting people. Friends by association, if you will. And overall, the experience has been really endearing. In fact, the entire month I've been spending on VR chat just hanging out with these people, to the point to where I'm celebrating Christmas with Japanese people, dog. What? It's been truly an endearing experience, and I've even come across several Japanese people who are trying to learn English and one other person who's English learning Japanese like me. So it's been a really cool experience. Every day has been pretty much eventful for me, and like it's a lot different than like how it was before. Extremely different. But not everything has been as easy as I'm portraying it. There has been a lot of confusion and a lot of learning. A lot of learning through confusion and mistakes. Learning Japanese has to be one of the most humiliating things that I've done to myself ever. I essentially have the Japanese vocabulary of like a baby or just a small child, and I'm 20 years old. Horrible feeling, horrible. I remember getting so frustrated over this that I had my face so far up this grammar book because I was super afraid to talk to a Japanese person and be lost once again because I'm not getting comprehensible input. And unfortunately, not everyone I talk to is going to be able to give me comprehensible input. Who I would get comprehensible input from is the people in Japan who are learning English. Because we kind of both have to sit there and be like, give me 1 second to figure this out, what you're trying to say. And then be like, okay, dude, I got you. Take your time. I don't have that kind of leniency with just everybody. And it's rough. But it's okay. I have a lot of methods that I can learn Japanese now. I can learn it by directly speaking it and like working off the grammar knowledge of my book and taking the words from the dictionary and forming the sentences and hopefully making something that's comprehensible so I can be corrected. Or I can read a visual novel, which I decided on Chaos Child because unfortunately I haven't seen all the endings to it. And I really don't want to read it because it scares me, but it's really good. Or I can just sit down and write all the time in Japanese, and it's like I'm stuck in this stage of where it seems like I really need to pick a struggle, and the most important one that it seems like it needs to be is just speaking the language, because if I can speak the language, I can learn more on the fly when I get past a certain point. That's kind of where I'm at in the Japanese sphere, guys. I'm not smart or anything, you know. I still only know a few basic phrases. I can only speak very poor Japanese. I can barely even create more than one clause. By the way, I had to relearn what a clause was again. It's cool that I'm learning Japanese, but what does that mean content-wise? So I have created a short of basically my first experience of being forced to speak Japanese by a random Japanese person who walked up to me because I was in a corner reading a visual novel and just thought I was being lonely. So he was like, let's learn Japanese together. And then he was just like, speak Japanese right now. And I just didn't know how to I didn't know what to say at that point. I just spouted out anything that popped up to my mind. I was really hesitant to upload that video because I was really nervous. You see, I don't know Japanese, and I'm not very smart about it either. I'm not native level, I'm not mastered, I don't even think I'm N5 level. I'm not even there, and that's like the elementary level. And it's really humiliating for me in general to be speaking the language and learning it, but also to then turn that back into content, which is basically the equivalent to me of like pasting my poor Japanese on like a gigantic billboard. I'm like, that's terrifying, Doc. But I do realize that I have to do something related to whatever I'm doing at that time. I've never been really consistent with the things that I wanted to do, but I think this is the one where I'm absolutely sure and serious that I want to take this as far as possible because I want to learn this language. I care about this a lot. I just don't know how I'm supposed to approach it with content though. I've had a few ideas where I can sit down and maybe interview, maybe have a specific goal in mind and things that I want to ask random Japanese people in VR chat or something like that. And honestly, that'd be really good content, you know? I've seen those Instagram reels of Japanese people getting interviewed in real life, you know? Maybe I could do that virtual-wise with my very poor Japanese and maybe learn something from it. I don't know. In general, I don't exactly know how to go about this. And honestly, it's one of the most scariest things that I think I'm doing ever in like a really long time. This is truly something that I kind of want to show you guys because I think there's probably people out there who don't know that you can learn Japanese through VR chat. It's a really good place to get some output. And like the majority of Japanese people are extremely friendly. Like you'll tell them konnichiwa, genki desu ka, and they'll be like, oh, nihongo jozu, nihongo jozu. And it's like, no, bro, I'm literally saying the first phrase that's like in any phrase book or something, you know? I want Japanese geared content. I'm just unsure how to approach it all. That's probably going to be the main focus for content of next year. So if that's not going to be your type of thing or anything like that, that's perfectly okay. You can unsubscribe. But just know that more than likely we are going to be Japanese learning, so Japanese content coming your way. If you want to learn Japanese, I would highly suggest it. It's scary, it's horrible, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, but you know, you gotta learn someday if you wanna, right? That's kind of the entire point of this video. I just wanted to say that, you know, more Japanese oriented content coming next year. I would love to be able to make bilingual content between English and Japanese, maybe eventually build up into a streaming career where I can have both Japanese and American people or English speaking people in my chat, and it'd be so cool because everybody want to be like, wow, I want to learn Japanese, or wow, I want to learn English. Anyways, I'm just rambling now. Sorry, I don't know how to end this. Like, I kind of ran out of ideas. Like, Happy New Year's, yeah! You are now leaving Psychers World. See you on your next visit, or should I say, see you next year.